Today on Let's Wine a Little.
Serving a great cocktail begins with the vessel. Yes, we're talking about glassware today, and we'll be investigating the different types of glassware you can add to your collection, as well as sharing information about the history of glass. We'll also take time to spotlight a glassware company that is changing the game when it comes to stemware. We have all of that and more on today's episode of Let's Wine a Little. True spirit enjoyment need not hinge on glassware, but if you want to experience the full impact and depth of a particular spirit, the proper glassware can help. A shot glass is often used when it comes to spirits and mixed drinks and serves multiple purposes. It's a short, versatile, and usually somewhat thick glass that can vary in size. In the United States, it will likely be around 1 ounce to 1.5 ounces. If drinking a shot, it's the glass of choice, but it's also a measuring tool for the entire catalog of mixed drinks. Speaking of mixed drinks, they often call for a rocks glass, either a highball or lowball glass. The highball is around 8 to 12 ounces, has a flat bottom and smooth sides, with the opening either about the same size or just a bit wider than the base. The similar old-fashioned or lowball glass might hold as much as the highball, but it's shorter and slightly wider. The Collins glass, originally designed for a Tom Collins, that's a gin mixed with lemon juice and water, is a more slender version of the highball and usually holds around 14 ounces. Stemware comprises several specialty glasses as well. The cocktail glass, often called a martini glass, has the bowl extending straight from the stem, appearing as a V shape when looked at from the side. The stem keeps the hands off the bowl, preventing undue warming of a cocktail, such as a chilled martini. A brandy snifter has a short stem with a large bowl that curves up and inward with an opening smaller than the width of the bowl. This glass allows drinkers to cup their hands around the bowl and warm the brandy, while the narrower opening allows the aromas to collect toward the top. Other stem glasses include the cordial glass, a very small flute, often about 2 to 4 ounces, for enjoying a favorite liqueur. The margarita glass, on the other hand, can be quite large, 12 ounces or more, and contains a double bowl with a wide opening on the top that levels off with a sort of ledge inside the glass. And then the smaller bowl continues toward the stem. A newer specialty entry to the glass family is the Glencairn glass, specifically designed for whiskey enjoyment. Developed in 2001, it contains a very short wide stem with a small bowl at the bottom of the glass that curves inward toward the rim, ending with a slight tulip-shaped opening, about 1.5 inches across. It allows enjoyment of the aroma while the opening introduces the spirit across the entire palate. Now that we have shared some general information about glassware, let's take our time and focus on selecting the best stemware. Specifically, we're looking at wine glasses. First, there are 4 parts to stemware: the rim, the bowl, the stem, and the foot. Let's dig deeper into those areas. First, there is the size. Make sure your glasses are big enough to collect aromas. White wine glasses should range from about 13 to 20 ounces, and red wine glasses from 17 to 30 ounces in total capacity. Let's talk about shape. A wide bowl exposes more surface area, increasing evaporation and aromatic intensity. A narrow bowl behaves oppositely. Narrow bowls are useful for spicy or high alcohol by volume wines. The opening. The opening size affects two things: how focused the aromas are when they enter your nose, and whether or not you can fit your hand in the glass to clean it. Larger openings tend to express more floral aromas. Smaller openings tend to focus fruit and spice flavors. Thickness. Thin-rimmed glasses increase exposure to liquid. Let's talk about crystal glass. Now, crystal is a bit of a misnomer because this type of glass doesn't actually have a crystalline structure. Instead, crystal includes minerals such as lead, zinc, magnesium, and titanium. The benefit of crystal is increased durability over standard glass. This means that crystal can be spun very thin. Additionally, the minerals in crystal glass refract light and sparkle. Lead-based crystal glass is safe to drink from. Just don't store liquids in them overnight. We don't want to do that. Lead-based crystal is also porous and should be hand washed with fragrance-free soap. If you cannot hand wash, many lead-free crystal glasses are also dishwasher safe. Stems versus stemless. Technically, stems do not affect the taste, although your hands will warm the glass. Feel free to choose whichever style works best for you and your situation. Lastly, here are the tips on choosing glassware. Choosing wine glasses is a personal choice. That said, here are some pointers. Consider how hard it is to clean the glasses. If you have rambunctious kids or pets in your house, perhaps stemless glasses might be the best choice. Factor in the cost of losing a glass to breakage. Will you be able to replace that glass? Choose one or two glass styles that most match your wine preferences. And lastly, plan to buy enough glasses for your wine drinking friends. I typically stick with a service of 8, but 12 is not out of the question. So let's talk about your next trip to go out and select your glassware to build your collection. There are a number of options at your wine store, your grocery store, the liquor store, but we have a few ideas for resources just in case you're looking. First up, we want to talk about Wine Folly. They are amazing when it comes to selecting wine glasses. They do have a beautiful example of the different types of wine glasses you can select, be it red wines or white wines, dessert wines, sparkling wine, your fortified wine. They have all of that covered. So check out Wine Folly. They are available online so that you can help yourself get the right piece of glassware depending on what you want to do. Now let's talk about glassware for one last second. There are a number of pieces you can purchase. When you're looking at it, do you need a champagne glass? Do you want beer glasses, specialty cocktail glasses, margarita glasses? There is a lot. But ask yourself, what do you enjoy and what do you want to serve on a consistent basis? And then also too, if you're like me, think about how much space you have available for storing all of this glassware. Now, if you thought that these quick ideas were blowing your mind, check out this next slide. Because when we say there are a plethora of glasses to choose from, we meant that. The only place I've ever seen this many pieces of glassware is at the restaurant or the bar. If you have the space, shout out to you. But as we go forward and we talk about the different kinds of glassware and we're building our bar, take all of these things into consideration. You've heard of Waterford. You've heard of Baccarat. I am bringing to you Estelle Colored Glass. Estelle Colored Glass is a luxury colored glass company that is also Black woman owned, and they are setting the stage and rocking the world right now in the home industry. If you've never heard of Estelle, it's okay. Today is your day to be informed. And we're going to just travel through their website to share a couple of details about Estelle. And I will tell you myself that I decided to invest in a collection of Estelle stemware back in 2020. It was definitely a gift to myself. And when we talk about top tier glassware, when we talk about artisanal pieces, Estelle is what comes to mind. So we'll start with some of the basics from their website. We'll just go right into who they are and talk about their story. And the young lady who owns the company does mention that, she moved toward this company from watching her grandmother Estelle and all of her antiquing trips. Now, all of the glassware is hand blown. It is colored glass. It is from Poland. And these collections, they are original commission pieces. So you're not going to go out there and find them any old place. Like, you have to go hunting. You have to go to a specific place to pick up your Estelle Colored Glass. And this, as they say, are jewels for your table. And does it create a beautiful table? If you've ever considered investing in glassware, stemware, Estelle is where you want to go. Let's talk about some of the pieces, because they have shot glasses, they have your low ball, your highball, they have cake plates, as we say, cake plates. There is the champagne coupe, there is the champagne flute. It goes on and on. And the colors will set you free. This is not your average everyday piece of glassware. Now, I understand that if you were to do a tasting, it would be difficult to do so with colored glass. I get that. Having said all that, I still believe you should keep a clear set for your tasting of the glass and then have your Estelle Colored Glass to serve and enjoy and sip and savor. This is what Estelle Colored Glass is there for. This is going to change your mind. Now, I haven't made the move, right? But I am looking to get to South Carolina so I can check out their store. They even have a mocktail bar in their store. Some of these pieces, oh my goodness. If you're a person who absolutely adores really nice stemware and glassware, you're going to get in trouble here. You're going to get in trouble. Now, they do from time to time have their sort of warehouse sale, if you will, where you can get some of the sample pieces at a discount. You could do some of their mystery mixed sets so you don't get to choose. But every single color is a beautiful color, so you cannot go wrong. And right now, depending on when you see this, there is a mystery box sale happening. But just know it happens twice a year, if I'm not mistaken. And if you want to get in on the good stuff, of course, get on their email list and you will never be out of the loop. But this is Estelle Colored Glass. Check them out. They are on social media and their website is gorgeous. And if you get a chance to go to their store or go to one of those other fine stores, you can check out the collection. So we're back at the bar because we're talking about glassware today. And a quick little fun fact, Gwendolyn studied home products in college. I have a degree in all things home. So glassware was definitely on that list of topics to be studied. So my glassware collection has grown over the years. I started out with a few pieces. I have inherited some pieces, and I also received some as a gift. So you'll find yourself more than likely updating, upgrading, changing your collection as you go throughout your years of living. That's called life, right? So first things first, I have some stemless wine glasses. It was something that I asked for as a wedding gift. I understand that my hands and my guest hands will warm up the wine, but there are times where we just want to like sip on something and be done. So we're not too fussy. These Colored glasses, I inherited those from my grandmother. That's why they have a T. Her last name was Thomas, her married name. And I just thought to myself, I know my last name doesn't end with a T, but when I serve drinks in these glasses, we are spilling the tea. So it works for Gwendolyn. It works. I have 2 martini glasses. There was a time back in the 90s when I was all things martini. Like, I think we all kind of start there. So, of course, I had a couple of martini glasses. Do I do a lot of them now? Not so much, but I do have them available when necessary. That's why they're there. Then we have our old-fashioned glass, because it's like my general cocktail glass. I enjoy serving plenty of drinks in it, be it a whiskey sour, having some mezcal, a little bit of tequila, vodka, everything goes into that glass, and it does have a J on there. That was a wedding gift to us as well. Now, my pride and joy up here, the cuties. This was an investment, people. And everybody has glassware that they invest in. Did I ever think about Waterford and all the other ones? I did. But as you get older and your values align with where your values align, you decide to go where you go. So I invested in, back in 2020, Estelle Colored Glass. And I love these babies. They are a beautiful pink blush. It matched our colors of our wedding of navy and copper or rose gold. So everything coordinates, and Gwendolyn is happy with it. I do serve not cocktails, but wine in them quite often, including champagne. So I love them. Everybody will have a piece of glassware that really speaks to them. So think about what that piece will be for you. The one piece that you're going to invest in because you want to treat yourself and your home to something special. Next on that list, these are handmade, I should say hand designed, because the glassware is from Crate and Barrel. But I have these designed by a dear friend who does oil paintings. And she has this crazy way of taking these oils and acrylics and painting glassware and other things. So I said, I have to have something for our 5-year anniversary. Again, stemless champagne flutes, right? I know it's going to warm up the champagne. It's okay. They're not in there that long anyway. But again, we had the navy and the pink because we wanted it to all be coordinated together. So you can think about what you're going to do and decide how it's going to really speak to you and your personality. So my husband and I obviously had to have engraved glassware for our wedding. Hence, this says Kenneth on his, mine's over there, and he is in the Air Force. So do we ever use these? We do not. We use them during the wedding. Perhaps when we get to our next anniversary, we will use them, but we don't use those every day because those are special. Now, these we do use from time to time. These, again, were also a wedding gift. So we have another pair of fancy flutes, and you're going to find yourself getting, I don't know, 1 or 2 pairs, 1 or 2 collections of fancy glassware. It just happens. I believe it just happens. I love these. We do use them, again, like I said, from time to time, only because, special occasions. So like my birthday, our anniversary, New Year's, or just because I'm filling out. I'm filling up the glassware, so I use it. Now, this little guy, this is a birthday glass that I bought for myself a few years back. And it literally will hold an entire bottle of wine. I know. Trust me. You're like, who does that? Gwendolyn does that. Gwendolyn and other people. We do that. So it holds an entire bottle of wine. When I use this glass is when I know I am not driving or leaving my home. So I tell every single person, drink responsibly. I am not drinking and driving. So there is that. All right, moving on. What we got here? Okay, so these are my tasters in, what do you call it? Snifters? Snifters, yes. This I typically use for my whiskeys and my absinthe and tequila most of the time. And anything that I need to take my time with. Now they actually wobble. They wobble, right? So as I drink and everything, they wobble, but it allows everything to sort of sit and it allows me to enjoy it. And it, it's cute. But yes, trust, those get used often. Now over here are my little guys for my cordials and my liqueurs, and I will put a port in there or any other fortified wine. You don't need a lot of that. You don't need a lot of a fortified wine. It's fortified. So with that in mind, we use our cordial liqueur glasses. Now, again, I talked about this before, but when you're doing other things in life, and one of them is tasting, you find yourself collecting glasses. Now, this Women's Rock, I actually earned that one from running. Oh, what did I run? I ran a 1 mile, a 3 mile, a 10K, and a 15K, all in one. Okay, I need to check that. I need to check it. We ran a slew of races in one day to not only earn this beautiful champagne flute, but there were matching medals. I'm gonna get you guys information. I'm gonna get you that. But in the back there, that's my tasting glass from Bingham Family Vineyards. And it's a beautiful universal wine glass. And I highly suggest everybody, if you're going to get started, get yourself a universal wine glass. And therefore, it doesn't matter what you're serving. You will always be in the right place. Always. That is a exceptional piece of glassware. And when I'm doing my tastings, I'm using that. So just be advised. That's what I highly suggest. You take nothing else from this, get a universal wine glass. Okay, lastly, over yonder, some other fun glasses. So we got a his and hers flutes. We have the boss, and then mine is the real boss because yes, Gwendolyn is the real boss. These are our everyday champagne flutes. I got them free from Freixenet. So when I talk about joining the email list, or if you will, the free wine clubs from a number of vineyards and what have you, and wineries and other companies that are in this business, there are some really good deals out there. You would be amazed what you can get if you decide to get on their email list. But that was one they gave years ago. They were handing them out for free, and I was like, sign me up, whatnot, sign me up. Okay, last on this list as we shut this down, we've got some decorated stuff. Everybody likes things from where they're visiting, right? So I have some more cocktail glasses from Appleton Estate Rum, which, yes, I do drink my rum in that because I need to. Back there's a pair of Remy Martin cognac glasses. And I'm not a big cognac drinker, but I have 2 pair if I have to. And then there is a collection of shot glasses because, from time to time, I'm good for a shot too. I'm good for a shot. Okay, this is my wine collection. I would love to hear more about yours. Share it in the comments. When I got my apartment, I was super excited about picking out the colors, the dishes, the everyday cups and what have you. But then I was going to create my bar. And all I could think of was, what do I want to have that represented me? Now, I've gone through a couple of pieces of glassware. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that. But my stemware has grown with me as well. I thought for a hot second I would be the person who is sipped on cognac and brandies, and then I realized that's not really my jam. And I went through the phase of all of the martinis, the cosmopolitans, all of those. Was that the 90s? I think that was the 90s. The 90s and the early 2000s, because everybody was doing like a sex on the beach or something. All I know is they had it in a martini glass, and I thought, that's it. That's the one. And then you start getting into some other flavors in the alcohol and wine world, and you realize, okay, I really like bubbles. I love champagne. I love the champagne. I love the sparkling wines. I really enjoy a fruit wine. All of these options required a different glass. It didn't. On a really good day, you may find me drinking my wine out of my average everyday piece of glassware. There are no kids here, so everything is glass. But here's what's cool about glassware. Not only will it set the mood for the cocktail you're serving, the wine you're serving, the cognac, the brandy, the whiskey you're serving, but it also talks about you and your style. Do you want something that is crystal? Do you want something more ornate or decorated? These are your options as a person who enjoys a little something here and there. And think about the collection, right? Because you need more than just two. Okay, you don't need more than two, because my husband doesn't drink, but I like to have two just in case. Every blue moon he wants a whiskey sour. I have a drink. I have a piece of glassware, a vessel to put his whiskey sour in. But you're making this collection, and if you enjoy entertaining, if you have every now and then some friends over, okay, so you need like what, maybe four pieces? But start small, shop around. I love going to Crate and Barrel. I love going to Williams-Sonoma. I have enjoyed my Estelle Colored Glass, and I have picked up some other things throughout the years going to trade shows, because I had access to trade shows, and nobody likes to take stuff back from a trade show. Great deals there. If you take nothing else from this, here is what I invite you to do. Take a look at your bar area. If you don't have one, go ahead and start. You just need two pieces. Okay, maybe one piece, just one for you, a glass for you. But start there. But we hope that you have enjoyed everything you learned today in this episode of Let's Wine a Little.